Come on. Sh- Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Spanish United Radio. This is Enrique Sanchez, founder and director. Tonight, show, we have a very special guest. Would you be kind enough to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Yeah, sure. My audio's all right. Yes.
Yes, yes. Go ahead and introduce
Okay.
yourself.
Sure. My name is Dennis Michael Broussard. I am the president of the House of France over in Balboa Park. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Sure. Bonjour and merci for being on the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I have gone to the Balboa Park and visited many of the houses there. I have good friends that are there at the House of Puerto Rico, House of Spain, but I never had the opportunity to speak with someone in the House of France. I am also a French national through my grandfather, so
Nice.
we would like to know a little bit about what the House of France does and what are the cultural things that you do.
I'd be happy to discuss those things. First of all, thanks again for having me on here to discuss the House of France and what we do. So, the House of France is one of the unique houses where we actually share the cottage with another country. We share with the House of Colombia. And
Okay.
we actually have to we split the month. Every month, the first 2 weekends is House of France, and the last 2 weekends of the month is House of Colombia. So we share the cottage, and when we are open, we do have like French artifacts, French posters, and educational material, and just fun facts around the cottage. And part of what we do, in fact, all the houses are required to do this, is to have a cultural lawn program out in the open area. If you or any of the listeners have been to the International Cottages area in Balboa Park, if you're lucky enough to go there on a weekend when there's a cultural program, that's what all the cottages are required to do. So we have a lawn program celebrating Bastille Day, which happens in mid-July. So that's one of the things that we do, but we do plenty of other things. We do like a cheese night, we do a wine tasting night, we have several other events that are not necessarily specifically French culture, but we invite people who are either French nationals, French natives, native French speakers, or just people who are interested in the language or the culture.
Nice, awesome. I think you're doing a wonderful thing. And I really like the concept that the Balboa Park has and having the different houses, because that's actually a good way to introduce people to different cultures and at the same time to dispel any stereotypes people may have, because many people they only go by what they hear or see on social media, through newspapers, but it's actually a good way to actually introduce the culture to the people without having them to travel. So I really commend you in what you guys are doing. And also that the fact that you are hosting another house, the House of Columbia, because usually when you have cultural centers, and I'm not saying that it's all of them generally, but for the most part, they don't really like to host other cultures within their cultural center because they want to promote their particular culture. So I really commend you guys for hosting the House of Columbia, and especially now with the whole thing with immigration and all that. That's a good way of promoting solidarity with the Hispanic community.
Totally, and that's what the houses are meant to do. Everything that you said is to help people discover and explore the world, all right there in Balboa Park. And by going into the cottages and asking questions and learning, it can dispel stereotypes. It can give people an open mind about learning about cultures. That is the way to break those down, to break down cultural barriers, to stop fear, is to become acquainted, to learn something. And all these cottages, they're all run by volunteers, every single one of them. And there are people from those countries. Like I am not like a friend. I was born in the U.S., but we do have some of our board members and some of our volunteers are native French speakers from France, and they just happen to live here in San Diego.
Mhm.
And we are, our board is in every house down there is so happy to be able to talk about their country, their culture, and answer questions about, especially when people are excited to travel to that country.
Hmm.
Like people coming to the House of France all the time. Either they've got one of three things. They like to talk about the time they went there, they have general questions, or they're excited about going there and they ask, like, what should I see? What should I do? And those are always fun conversations.
Hmm. Of course, absolutely. What we do in Spanish United is that I established it in 2020. And one of the things that we do is is to promote education and to dispel any myths that people have about Hispanic people. And we care ourselves in trying to promote education, culture, and positive aspects of the Hispanic community. Because as you know, immigration and who was an American is a top issue in the United States.
Right,
And
right.
we do what we can to try to promote a positive image of Hispanic people because Spanish United, I chose the term because it unites all Hispanic people of different countries, but what unites us is language and culture. Because
Right, right, right.
all of Latin America, even though they're different countries, they all speak Spanish. So that is a uniting factor and common denominator that we have as Hispanics, and also a similarity because Spain was the mother country. It was the country that gave us our language and culture.
Hmm.
And to promote Hispanic unity, and I've done many functions where I speak with different politicians and organizations to promote better understanding with Hispanics and non-Hispanics, and also to have a better engagement and rapport with different institutions and organizations. Because I feel that the more Hispanics become more outward in speaking with people and not being so insular, I think that could help in not only dispelling any stigmas or myths that people may have of Hispanic people. At the same time, they could see that Hispanics are actually very inclusive people because Hispanics are one of the most inclusive people in the world because people assume that Hispanics are just one ethnicity or one particular ethnic makeup, but Hispanics are multicultural. You have Hispanics that
Right,
are
right.
European, African, indigenous, Asian, or a mixture of all of those. What unites us is that we speak the same language and we have a culture that is predominantly Spanish speaking. So that's one of the
Hmm.
things that we promote, and we're in the process of also trying to set up a community center to invite Hispanics and non-Hispanics to have questions and to find ways to make the Hispanic community's lives better.
I think that's such a noble and great cause that you guys are doing there. And, we have a number of houses that represent different Hispanic countries. We've got Colombia, we've got Spain, Mexico, Puerto Rico. There's probably a couple more there too. And they're all great people. House of Peru, and we've got friends in every one of those houses, and they're a lot of fun too.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I think what you're doing is it's great, it's noble, it's needed, especially with some of the political climate about, yeah, it can really lead to discussions that may not be so like healthy when it comes to people of different ethnicities and races. So organizations like you having a mission like yours, I think is important. So if it's commendable, thanks for doing that.
Thank you, thank you. And like I said, our purpose is to promote culture over color. That's one of the mottos that we have at Spanish United is that we are many nations, many races, but we are one people and one language and one culture. That's the motto of Spanish United.
Mhm.
And we would like to know more what other venues the House of France has done with many other of the houses that are predominantly, his Spanish speaking or Hispanic houses. Like what functions have you guys done in over in Balboa Park?
You mean collaboratively or just in general?
Collaboratively.
So there are a couple of events that are all the houses participate in, and there's two primary ones that we have throughout the year. One is December Nights, or what it used to be called is the International Christmas Festival, aka December Nights, which was actually started by the International Cottages and then just adopted by the rest of Balboa Park. And all the houses take part in that where they're all open and they all offer some food item or a few food items that are like unique or special to their country. Like Colombia does empanadas, Spain does paella, Mexico just has just some great Mexican food, and then all the other houses like Germany, Denmark, England, Finland, like all those other houses, they have something special there too. And then part of December nights too, that most of the houses, not all of them, but most of them also take participate in the spirits garden, where every cottage that participates like offers a liquor or beer or some unique beverage that's specialized from their country.
Right.
So that's the big one. That happens the first Friday and Saturday of December every year. And then our other one is the Ethnic Food Fair, which is kind of similar but not related to any holidays or any Balboa Park wide celebration. And that usually takes place in May. Like we got the spring and the winter. So that takes place in May, and it's similar in that all the houses who participate will also have like their special food offering that's unique to their country or culture, the cuisine that represents like Peru or Mexico or Spain. And um, those are the collaborative things that all the houses do. As
Nice.
far as the House of France, I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
As far as the House of France, we are kind of one of the smaller houses, and that's why we share with Colombia. In fact, before Colombia moved in to the house, we were sharing with the House of the Philippines, but the House of Philippines got their own house. And so we at the House of France didn't want to take the entire house. So Colombia was kind of one of the next ones on the list to be able to get a physical cottage, because not all the houses have like a physical cottage.
Right.
And what that means is like, for example, a group of people who represent a culture or a country can be like, we want to start a house of whatever, right? They
Right.
don't necessarily need to have a house. They just have to have a certain number of members. They have to like develop bylaws and do all that nonprofit stuff. Like, for example, House of Somalia is one that's just started and just got approved, but they don't have a physical cottage, but they are still the House of Somalia. And that's
Mm,
what Colombia was before they moved in next to us.
I see. I see. So for the time being, the House of Columbia does not have a physical house, but you guys share a
They do
house on
now.
certain days. Oh, they do now? Okay.
Yeah, because they're sharing it with us. And but before they started sharing with us, they didn't have a physical house. So now
Ah,
they
okay,
they
got
do,
it.
they just share it with us. We flip-flop weekends
Oh, that's nice. That's
or the month.
awesome. So
And
we have a question. Have you ever been to France?
I have been to France quite a number of times.
Nice. So does the French culture of ministry or tourism, do they work in conjunction with the House of France and in Balboa Park, or are they like two independent entities?
They're most certainly independent entities, and what we are trying to do is have more collaboration with other French organizations in San Diego, and then also trying to work more closely with a specific city government in France. So we don't have any funding or sponsorship or even partnership, even on a minimal level yet with France, but that's something that we are currently working on.
That's good. That's good. So how would you say the people of San Diego, or let's say visitors, what is their impression of the House of France when they visit, or when they take a tour?
Some people are happy to see it because they just like French culture or French food or having been to France, or they're excited about their trip going to France for the first time. And then some people they just wander in and they take a look at what's in there. And then you can tell who's kind of just looking around and then just going in and out of the houses. And with as many people as it's come, it's good to have both kinds. It's because sometimes it gets really crowded. So it's good to have the people who just wander in and take a look and they go to the next house. And then it really is kind of rewarding to have people who are excited about a culture or country, and for us specifically, France. But I can't tell you how many times people walk in and they're like, "Oh, I thought this was Colombia," and I'm like, "Sorry, they're closed." So people get excited about all the different types of countries. And sometimes it's funny how disappointed people are that House of Columbia is closed. I'm like, well, House of France is open. You can still chill with us now.
So in the House of France, like when the Colombians are gonna be doing their thing, like do you guys have to like close part of the house? Do they like bring their stuff in for that day and then they move it out? Like how does that work?
Yeah, kind of. And luckily that we don't have to move like a ton of furniture. Um, we just when we're open and House of Columbia is closed, we push. They leave a space for us to push kind of our moving border a little, a little, like so that the House of France can expand more. And then we do the same. We'll move the stuff in our cottage so that when it's their turn, they can move the moving border a little bit more so that the House of Columbia can open up and expand.
Well, that's nice. That's awesome. I really think you guys are doing a great work. And do you guys also do like any type of community or charity work? Like for example, Spanish United, we're heavily involved in doing a lot of community and charity work. Like we do a lot of emphasis on helping homeless people with providing food, with providing basic necessities, and trying to get people that may be displaced to get them into traditional housing. We try to do a lot of like
Right, right.
referrals and charity work. So do you guys do anything like that at all or no?
As the house, we don't do that. We are a really small organization, and sometimes the challenge for us, even though we're only open 2 weekends a month, it's still a challenge just to even staff our house with volunteers. Um, and that seems to be a problem shared by many houses as board members are kind of aging out or retiring or just in general getting older, it seems like the younger folks may not necessarily have the same passion in volunteering. So
Right.
if we did have the capacity to be fully staffed and wouldn't have to worry about always staffing for volunteers, we would probably be in a better position where we could do more humanitarian and charitable work. But that's just not something that we have the capacity or bandwidth to do at this point. But independently, a lot of us, not necessarily directly with the House of France, but we do our like every board member is involved with a different charity or organization. I do humanitarian work around the world, not necessarily associated with the House of France, but I just do. So even though the House of France may not specifically do charitable humanitarian work, all of our members are in some way doing stuff with their church or with organizations or I do international humanitarian work.
Nice, nice. So on another question I was going to say before it slips out of my mind. Um how would you describe uh the the attendance, or how would you say like membership of people of the House of France? Like the people that go to visit or volunteer, do they eventually become members, or is a membership something that's done voluntarily? Like how does that work?
So it's it's almost all of that. It's people become members so that they can volunteer, or people volunteer and become members. Or sometimes people sign up for members and we never see them again. Or sometimes they only come to special events, like they'll come to the two events I discussed earlier, December nights or the ethnic food fair. Or we also try to do events every other month. And so sometimes people will come to the events that we do. Like we have a summer picnic at the end of every summer where we invite all of our members and then we just provide like different French goodies, pastries, and just try to have like French sausages and stuff. And then we also have special walks around the city, like historic walks or just walks on Shelter Island and something to kind of promote a healthy lifestyle. So most of the stuff we do has a direct connection to culture, but some things that we do, like the walk, is more just a general thing to allow our members to meet each other.
That's nice. That's good. Like one of the things that we do in Spanish United is that we try to host events where not only we give workshops and we discuss about various topics, but at the same time we try to get people to meet each other, to get to know each other, because I feel that the more people are able to interact with each other, the better it is.
Totally.
And I feel that the only way people are going to be able to get involved is that they have to be pushed and they have to be encouraged. So like right now we're in the process, like I said, of trying to set up a community center eventually. And one of the plans that
Hmm.
we want to do is do like an event like once a month where we have a workshop and then we have kind of like a fellowship where we have like appetizers and people could get to know each other and at the same time to voice their concerns that's affecting this, the community and to come up with solutions to try to find ways to resolve certain issues or concerns that the community may have. So that's, it's kind of like a city council, but without the
Right.
politics. Because Spanish United, we are a nonpartisan organization. We're not involved into politics, and we try to keep it out as much as possible because I feel that politics tends to divide people. So, we try to do what we
It
can.
does.
Yeah, we try to do what we can to try to keep it nonpartisan as much as we can and to just encourage people to work together regardless of their affiliation or creed.
Right. Because unfortunately, these days, it's like without even knowing someone, people will judge other people just based on their party affiliation. And it's like, hey, get to know the person, get to understand why they may be like have different thought process or different, come up with different ideas from you. So I think what you're doing is great for that purpose, is bringing people together and maybe people can come up with solutions without bringing up party lines.
Absolutely, and that's the whole focus, because I feel that when people are able to put aside their differences and focus on what they have in common, I think they could do a lot of things. So, that's what we do
Totally.
is that we try to encourage people to work together, not only unity of the Hispanic community, but also to promote unity among Hispanics and non-Hispanics. 'Cause I feel that the
Right.
more people work together, they could live more harmoniously. Well, anyway, I want to tell you that we're almost out of time, but I wanted to share with the House of France that Spanish United, we are available on all social media platforms. We are on Spanish United, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We are a 503 nonprofit organization. Anyone that wants to donate is not obligated to, but donations are appreciated, and anything that anyone gives is used to help someone in the community. And again, I want to tell you, DM, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you taking your time to visit us here in Spanish United Radio. And do you have any final thoughts before we conclude
Thank you
the meeting?
for even thinking enough of the House of France to want to have a conversation with us. And I'll look for you on all the social media platforms I'm on and follow you and I'll stay abreast of like what you guys got going on and be happy to attend an event and party with you guys and do good work with you guys. So I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you inviting me on here and having a discussion about Spanish United and having a discussion about House of France.
Definitely, we will definitely keep in touch. Have yourself a good evening.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
You too. Bye bye.